will help grow these platforms globally very, very quickly. So whether it's car seat recycling, all the way to cigarettes all across the world, even chewing gum in Mexico, what I want to leave you with today is that absolutely everything can be recycled. We need to shift our framing from is it an R&D question to it's entirely an economic question, and then think about how to bring out economic motivators, whether it's legislative, whether it's opportunistic, that will then motivate stakeholders, whether it's producers, retailers, to be able to finance and put out systems like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. We now have Honorable Nara Lokesh, Minister for Information Technology, Rural Development and Panchayati Raj, Government of Andhra Pradesh, to give you a view of how his government is using technology for governance and everything else. It's the most technology-friendly state in India.
So good afternoon, everyone. It's kind of what? Thank you. I hope you're not sleeping. It's a kind of convergence of portfolios. You know, I'm the Minister of Rural Development and IT in the state of Andhra Pradesh. It's a very interesting thing that two ministries, unique ministries, are under the same minister. This gives you an idea of why we're hosting this session today as a state. Because we want to learn what are the innovations that's happening globally and how we as a state can use that innovation to leapfrog. We are one of the newest states created in India. And we have actually the lowest per capita income in South India. And we see technology as our ability to leapfrog. You know, the state got bifurcated in 2014. And as we say, every crisis is an opportunity. 58% of the population received 46% of the revenue. And if you also look at, we had no capital city. And we had the first year deficit of close to $2.2 billion. You know, as Lord Buddha, learning from Lord Buddha says, you know, no matter how hard the past, you can always begin again. And every crisis is an opportunity. And that's where we in the state of Andhra Pradesh have looked at. You know, when our Chief Minister, Mr. Naidu, was sworn in 2014, he had three distinct targets for us to achieve. By 2022, to be among the top 3 states in India in terms of per capita income. By 2029, to be the #1 state in India in per capita income, but also in happiness. And by 2050, actually become a preferred global destination and actually compete with South and Southeast Asian countries in these parameters. And what that meant is we had to grow as a state by double digit. We had to grow at close to 15%. Now for the CEOs here, think about it. Take a $60 billion company and try to grow it at 15% CAGR for 20 years. And that's the task we as a state have. So we broke down. So the whole idea was, how do we create an inclusive growth? How do you bridge the gap between the haves and have-nots? So we have 7 missions: the primary sector mission, the social empowerment, service sector, industry, knowledge and skill, urban development, and broader infrastructure. We have 5 grids, which we believe are very, very important. So it's power, gas, road, water, and the most important thing, fiber. So we as a state, we have a state-run project where we're taking fiber to every home on an Android TV box at the end. And we have 5 campaigns, and these campaigns are actually aimed at connecting to our citizens at large. We've taken a life cycle approach as a state. So we've not looked at, you know, X department, Y department, but what we have taken is, you know, how do we keep the citizen at the center and serve the citizen? So if you look at it from birth, infancy, education, employment, health, housing, marriage, old age, and even death, we call it Mahaprasthanam. How do we map the entire cycle? And how do we as a state offer services? We as a state become proactive towards the citizens. It's been an amazing journey. Mr. Naidu is known for his transformative e-governance initiative. And we call it Naidu 1.0. And that was Me Seva. But what you see today is Naidu 2.0. And where we actually have Aadhaar, which is the India's national ID, which is powered by biometrics. But we as a state flipped it. And we bought it as family as a unit. So we have a real-time census that goes in the state. We call it golden data. And we have a people's hub where all this is housed. We also have land hub, where all the land records in the state are digitized. And by June this year, they're going to be on a blockchain platform, where land can be transacted like your demat accounts, like the shares. Anywhere you're sitting, you can buy and sell land. So that's what we're going to launch. And to end, actually, we are now sort of bringing about e-office, where the entire government is online. We transact online. Yes, as a state, we are also powered by SAP. We are the only state that has implemented SAP, our entire treasury. So this is our core dashboard. We as a state love data. And I think it sort of fits into the theme here at Davos. This is a live portal. We track everything. I mean, if you sneeze and cough, we pretty much track it as a state. But the exciting part here is, we track even groundwater. We track groundwater on a daily basis. Because the biggest challenge as citizens of the planet, we've really lost track of preserving our natural resources. We have taken it for granted. And this way we've tracked rainfall, we're tracking even groundwater to the last mile. And this data, thrown open to the entrepreneurs here, can be really transformative. They can offer services to the farmers. They can offer solutions for the complex problems that we have in India. So this dashboard is quite comprehensive, and we would share this link, and we would love input on areas that we could actually do better. The success of the state is our ability to roll out programs for our citizens. This is a very, very interesting program. It's called Chandrana Bima. It's actually an insurance program for all our citizens. So anyone who dies in an accident gets close to 500,000 rupees, which is about $6,000 from the state. It's an insurance program. And natural death, they get close to about $3,000, which is massive in an Indian context. But just look at it, we've been able to settle. So, if there's an unfortunate death in a village, in 15 days using data and using biometric-enabled devices, we are actually able to deliver the money to the family. On the day of the death, we're giving 5,000 rupees for the last right expenses. So it's very powerful. It's just an idea of how we're using data to really deliver services to our citizens. The other project is the public distribution system, where we're using biometrics on food security, we're using biometrics on our ration, or on pension. And the exciting part here is the citizen satisfaction. So we actually call all our citizens in 24 hours. So once you avail a service from the government, you will get a call from the state. Are you satisfied? How can we serve you better? So this is about how do you make government more proactive and not reactive. The other project that we've launched is Mukhyamantri Yuva Nestam. This program is about getting unemployed youth onto a platform. And the platform is about giving a monthly benefit scheme. But then we just don't stop there. We're looking at actually working with the industry to get inputs on where things are moving. And how can we skill up our entire unemployed youth? A very powerful program launched in 12 days. An unemployed youth can just sit in their office using Aadhaar, India's unique ID. With that, they can actually access the entire portal. We triangulate data from 7 different databases, including the education department, birth and death. And this is a real-time portal. Very transparent. And in case you're not eligible for the scheme, we actually tell you why. The other project that we've done in the state is we have something called the National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. This is a Government of India program. And this is a project that I personally lead as a minister. Using dashboards. And we're probably one of the very few states that have used dashboards. We've pretty much dashboarded everything. And we're able to monitor performance real time and link it to the last mile functionary. So performance of government officials up to the last mile is actually linked. And we actually look at accountability coming in. We've doubled our performance in 12 months. And this is an indication of how a simple dashboarding tool has really brought about transformation. I work with close to 26 ministries in this convergence project. And it's quite effective role how technology has worked for us. We also have a real-time outcome monitoring system, ROMS. And this is where we actually benchmark ourselves as a state. In ease of doing business, we are #1 in the country but we're not excited about that. How can we be number one on this planet? So we're trying to learn from our peers in Singapore. We're trying to learn from other countries. How can we be better? You know, we have the Samaj Vikasam, where again it's SDGs broken down into different ways. And we have 10 themes and 47 indicators. So we have Kutumba Vikasam, we have key performance indicators, GVA, and also the SDGs. So think about this, 961 key performance indicators, monitored real-time across 36 ministries. And we have 1 million IoT devices in the field giving us data. And we have a real-time governance center which actually takes this data, does a lot of homework on it, and then advise ministries on where we're failing and how can we do better. And create an internal sense of competition among various ministries. So just to give you an idea of our journey, you know, Aadhaar, as I said, is the national ID program. And we call this Praja Sadhikara survey, where we sort of built a profile of a family. So we've understood how a family, who are all part of a family and how can we give benefits. So 44 million citizens are already on this platform. And we make it transparent. So as a citizen, you can know what's the data that we have about you. You can also know which different government departments have accessed your data in the last 12 months. So we made this very transparent to our citizens. Land Hub, as I spoke about, all the agriculture land, urban properties have all been mapped. They're now being geotagged under the Budhar program, and we're making it real-time thanks to blockchain. As I said, SAP, the entire treasury runs on SAP, the only state in the country, if not in the world, that does this. But it's been an amazing journey for us, and it's made, of course, the treasury far more efficient, which I think everyone wants to really know. The other project is e-Pragati. And e-Pragati means e-progress. And e-Pragati is about eliminating two fundamental challenges that we have as a country. The first challenge we have in India is we love certificates. This is something we've inherited from the British. There's a certificate for pretty much everything. But thanks to Aadhaar and now e-Pragati, your thumb is sufficient. You can access your certificates anywhere and making it completely real time. In India, you know, if your house is on fire, the first thing you save is your certificates. We've completely eliminated that. And the second thing is to create single source of truth. You know, many governments globally struggle with this. And the idea with e-Pragati is to achieve that. So what you're seeing is an ERP for government and creating a very integrated government going forward. And why are we trying to do this? Ease of living. How can Andhra Pradesh be the number one in the world in terms of ease of living? So if you look at it, we have a common functional layer. These are all the different stacks that we have as a government. Then we have the infrastructure layer. It could be the fiber network, it could be the e-highway, our dev platforms, the state data center. On top of that, we have a core data layer, which is the PSS, the Praja Sadhikara survey, the Land Hub, the IoT devices that are on there. But the beauty is the delivery layer. So as long as you just have a smartphone, Android or iOS, you can work with the government. You don't need to go to any government offices. And the whole idea is to streamline. It could be B2C, it could be G2C, G2B, B2B. We see government becoming a platform for you to transact. So it's been an amazing journey for us. You know, we have alerts where we go to the citizens. We've used drones extensively as a state. We have amazing infrastructure. But I'll come to the last point, which is satisfaction. In our vision as a state, we said by 2029, we want to have the highest satisfaction in India. And we've done that. We actually look at even media. We get feedback from both print and electronic media, the social media. We get grievances. So we have a 2,000-seater call center where citizens can call 1100, and we get feedback from you. We hear you. We want to understand where we're failing. And here we also have an app where citizens can go and register their grievances. And all linked, of course, again, back to the National ID program. But the beauty of this is in the last few months, we've gone from 57% satisfaction to close to 77%. And we are the only state to actually monitor satisfaction. And this has only been possible because of technology and what was actually demonstrated before I started my session. And the whole idea is to have ease of doing business, ease of living, and create most livable standards in the state of Andhra Pradesh. In terms of ease of doing business, we were ranked number 2. The first year these ratings came out. In the last 2 years, we are number 1 as a state, and the Lee Kuan Yew Institute has been engaged actually to now benchmark across the globe our practices as a state. As I said, we take a lot of feedback from citizens. We have eliminated middlemen and creating a hassle-free citizen services. And this brings to the end of my presentation. It starts with monitoring quality of air, water, and food. We've heard a lot about traceability. We learned a lot about AI, waste management, and it's very, very important. And then we sort of look at how are we improving outcomes in health, outcomes in education, and then creating a quality of citizen engagement. And this is something I think, technology is sort of reducing. We've lost track of our citizens. It's very, very important to engage. The revolutions that you're seeing today in the world is because we're not engaging with them. And only then we can actually create quality of life with happiness. Well, we love data and statistics in the state. If you've seen